Today we're talking about how to make a drum track in Reaper. My name is Paul Tobey from jazzmental.com. I'm doing this project where I want to make a recording of a song, and that song is called Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka. And it is a ballad, so making a drum track for a ballad with MIDI drums and all of that is a very difficult thing to do, and it's not very realistic. So I'm going to show you the absolute easy way to make a jazz drum track to use for your recording, and we're going to get into that in just a second. So today we are going through how to make a drum track in Reaper from beginning to end, step by step. And I said before that I'm using this drum track as a ballad track for this song that I'm recording. And so I found that one of the easiest ways to do this is just to go to YouTube and do searches for what it is you're looking for. So jazz, ballad, drums. And as you can see, lots of people have contributed different beats, and there's even tutorials on how to play jazz drums. And I know from experience that it's going to be about 60 beats per minute to 80 beats per minute. So let's just play this first one. And what we're looking for here is obviously realistic, a real drummer, somebody that's doing more than just playing a simple loop, but actually adding fills and things probably every 4 bars. So there's count off measure, which is good. Yeah, so there's obviously just did some fills. Continuing to play more than just the snare drum. There's a few more fills. And this goes on for about 4 minutes. Let's play near the end, see if it's different. So they're fairly simple fills. You don't want anything too much because, of course, when you make your recording, you can always send it to some drummer and they can make a track for you. But really, you're just looking for a good bed track and a real track that you can use to play off of. So I like this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screen record this using Camtasia, because I'm using OBS Studio to actually record this presentation. So I can't do it for that as well. So I just pulled out the recorder for Camtasia. I'm going to make sure that my audio is connected to the right audio and just hit the record button. And it's going to count down to 0. And then I just make sure that I rewind it to the beginning, and I'm going to record this through all the way to the end. So one of the things that I like about Camtasia is it allows you to create an MP3 recording, because things like OBS Studio don't allow you to export out, I don't believe anyway, MP3 or WAV files. But Camtasia allows you to do this. So we're just going to go through the process here, and I'm going to select MP3 here, and then next, and then 44/128. And so what I want to do is I want to save this in I've created a folder called Reaper Media and then Samples. So what I do is I have these different samples from different YouTube recordings or other places that I've got the recordings from. And so I'm going to put this one in drum loops, and I'm going to call it Jazz Drum Ballad 60 BPM. And now what I want to do is jump into Reaper and show you how to get that track in and start to edit it, because there are some things that you need to be aware of. So the first thing we do is just create a track. If you don't know how to create a track, it's just Control T. Let's call it drums. And then you want to go to View, Media Explorer, Control-Alt-X if you're on Windows as a shortcut, but let's just hit Media Explorer. And now you can see that I can have access to Reaper Media. So I can go to Reaper Media, the samples folder, go to the drum loops, and the jazz drum ballad 60 beats per minute. And then sometimes what you can do with these is you can click here where it says tempo match on, and then it tries to match the actual tempo of the recording into the project itself. So let's go up here first and change the beats per minute to 60, which is the same as the recording that we have. And then you can literally pull this track up. I'm going to pause. So just grab the track and pull it up into the track, and it'll try to match it up. But in most cases, especially with jazz, it's because of the way it's recording. It's not obvious to Reaper what the actual beats are. So now what you want to do is you want to figure out a way to match it up to the bars. So if you look at the top, that's beat 1, that's beat 2, that's beat 3, 4. Sorry, 1 is here, 2 is there, 3 is there, and 4 is there. So you can see where he's counting off 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So obviously we want to get our cursor to the beginning of that, and we can actually make this bigger, not only there, but there as well. Get it right up to the edge of that, right there, and just hit S to split the track and delete anything that came before that. And let's pull that all the way over to the beginning, and you can see that it's still not lined up properly. So now what we need to do is let's work with about maybe 4 bars or so. So take it over here, split the track there, and delete that. And now we have to start lining things up. So what you can do is grab the Alt key, and if you go near the right edge like this, it turns it into a little hand, and you can literally stretch that track bigger or smaller, which is really cool. And if you just get it to the point where it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, and then you zoom in, you can see it's a little bit off still. So then what you might want to do is just cut the track here, and then do that again, because it was too much. The length was too long to get an accurate. Okay, like that. And then the way to check it to see if this is on, you can just hit the metronome up here and just rewind it and play it. And then what you can do is just grab more of this track here and stretch that out like that, and keep going, and you can see whether it actually matches the metronome or not. So you can see that the drum track is a little bit ahead of the metronome track. So you want to grab this amount. Let's stretch this out a little bit to see if we can move it over. So hit Alt and then the Shift key to move it like that. And let's try that. So the interesting thing about this is, especially in certain places, for example, if we zoom in here, you can see that the drummer, the real drummer, is playing this slightly ahead of the beat. And you can fix little things like that if you need to, but I tend to leave them because it's a real player, and real players are not 100% accurate, especially when it's this slow. So now what I can do is I can drag out the whole thing until the end, and hopefully it'll match up. And if it doesn't match up in certain places, like I say, you can do little editing things where you can move that. For example, if I just want to move that one beat, I can grab my cursor, move it just to the front of that, split the track, and then just pull that whole track over there, just like that. Actually, let's pull it back for a second. Let's undo that, and then just hit the Alt key, and then just drag the track over just a little bit like that. But then, of course, this next section is a little bit off too. So I'm going to undo all of that just for now. So there's all of these editing things you can do after the fact that can be really helpful to fix up certain things. But now what we have, if you go back to here, is a very realistic drum track that you can work with. There's even nice fills. So one of the things is I had my audio microphone recording while this was going on. So it's not the most accurate right now, but make sure that it's only recording the computer source audio so that you don't have any stuff in the recording that you don't want. So that's how to create a drum track in Reaper the easy way, especially a very realistic track the easy way. And I hope you enjoyed that. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, just write them below. And in our next video, we're going to finish off the drum track. And we're going to start putting a bass track in using what I think is a very realistic bass sound. And I'll show you how I get that in the next video. Thanks for your time.